Big stories tonight at 6. Parents in 3 New Jersey towns are getting some startling information in the mail. It's about a convicted sex offender and some area schools.
Why did 2 men die at a Midtown construction project? We have new information.
And the heart-wrenching story of an unsung 9/11 hero. See how parents honor their son.
Live from the CBS 2 Information Center in New York, this is CBS 2 News at 6.
Good evening. I'm Ernie Gadastis. Dana is off tonight.
I'm Mary Calvi. It's an issue that could tear apart any community. What to do when a convicted sex offender moves in.
Especially when he lives within blocks of several schools. CBS 2 New Jersey reporter Marcella Palmer live right now in Keansburg with our exclusive story. Marcella.
Right, Ernie, Mary, this is a small town here in Keansburg. Neighbors have conflicting feelings when it comes to the issue of what we're talking about here, a high-level reoffense sex offender who has just moved into their area. He now lives and works within walking distance of 3 schools. In the mail, residents of Keansburg, Middletown, and Hazlitt are getting this. It's a packet created by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office in accordance with Megan's Law Child Sex Offender Notification System. It talks about Kevin Meisner, just out of prison, convicted of sex assault involving an 8 and 12-year-old. The prosecutor's packet says one incident happened at knife point. The packets have been sent out weeks before the start of school. Here in Keansburg, he's moved in just a few blocks away from a Catholic preschool and 2 elementary schools. These parents tell us they're safety prepping their kids who have to walk near Meisner's home on their way to and from school.
When school starts, we have to walk past his house, and it just fears us. God forbid they hurt us.
When they bring them out of the courts, they should bring them in to another complex that they come out of jail, they should be in like a section of their own. They shouldn't be around no children whatsoever.
If someone says you did something and they did their time, they did their thing, let him go, yes, I understand that, but you shouldn't be around little children. What makes you think your mind ain't going to snap again?
But surprisingly, not everyone is outraged. Several neighbors and one school official that we spoke with off camera believes that Meisner served his time, paid his debt to society, and is trying to start over. So that school official isn't opposed to him living close to the school. The ACLU out of Newark tells us it believes the notification system makes matters worse. Released offenders, says the ACLU, are often harassed, lose jobs, and put under further stress that betters their chances of striking again. Now, the Megan's Law rules of conduct for neighbors of sex offenders says, among things, that neighbors should contact their local police department in any situation of this type, not only here in Keansburg, if they believe that their children are in physical danger from the sex offender. Like I said, not only here in Keansburg, but in any situation, and not to take matters into their own hands. Reporting live from Keansburg, New Jersey, Marcella Palmer, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
Marcella, thank you. FBI agents in Oregon are still combing through the backyard of a man suspected of killing 2 girls. Agents are using ground-penetrating radar equipment on the ground around Ward Weaver's property. Police say a body found buried there is that of Miranda Gaddis, who vanished in March. A second corpse found this weekend may be that of 13-year-old Ashley Pond. She disappeared in January. An autopsy on that body is taking place today. Both girls were Weaver's neighbors. He is already in jail for raping his son's 19-year-old girlfriend.
Tonight, safety inspectors are combing through a Midtown construction site. They're trying to find out what caused the tragic, elevator accident on Friday. Sorry, that killed 2 people. CBS 2's Whitney Casey has the story.
The stop work order has been lifted. The building department has opened up the job.
The super for Turner Construction, the company in charge of the construction on the building where 2 workers plummeted to their death Friday after a cable on an outside construction elevator they were working on reportedly snapped. Today at 300 Madison, the high-rise sat stagnant. Workers take a knee to mourn their loss.
The workers decided not to work today because they weren't in the right frame of mind. They'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back to normal tomorrow.
Back to normal tomorrow. Yeah. So today, is it just sort of a regrouping investigation day?
Yes. Investigations are continuing.
And the only work performed today is by inspectors. A slew of them are seen mulling at the site. The FDNY sent a team to check out the building for any fire hazards. Friday's was the 3rd accident in 4 months at the site. In April, a giant crane spilled steel beams onto Madison Avenue, and 2 weeks ago, a fire broke out on the top floor. FDNY officials say today the building checked out okay. But the plague building is somewhat reminiscent of the 1998 construction of the Condé Nast building at 4 Times Square. 3 major accidents in a 7-month span, including the death of a worker and later a civilian when a crane crashed into the rooftop of an adjacent building. Although the super says that the work stoppage here has been lifted, that was issued on Friday. Workers came here this morning only for a special memorial service to honor the 2 men that died. They were then sent home for the day and were told that work will resume here tomorrow. Reporting from Midtown, Whitney Casey, CBS 2 News.
If terrorists were to strike the United States again, would we be ready? Hospitals in New Jersey are taking steps that could save lives in an attack. Governor James McGreevey announced plans for a new emergency radio system. It will link the state's 85 acute care hospitals and provide instant communications between EMS doctors and government agencies. It's expected to be in place by the end of the year. No word on when it will be implemented in New York hospitals. And there is no sign of any anthrax spores at 3 New Jersey postal facilities. Tests came back negative from the Hamilton Mail Facility, the West Windsor Post Office, and the South River Distribution Center. The tests were done as a precaution after spores were found in a Princeton mailbox 2 weeks ago. Similar testing at postal facilities in Eatontown and Edison also came back negative. No additional testing is planned.
The U.S. Open has a new look this year. An army of security people are on the lookout for anything suspicious, but that isn't keeping the crowds away. CBS 2's Penny Crone is live at the National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadows with more tonight. Penny.
Well, you got that right, Ernie. The people are just coming in here in droves. Now, the afternoon matches, they're all over, so now we're all getting ready for the evening matches, but we're going to give you a shot. Dana's going to show you a shot of the line here, just trying to get in. All of these people have to have each and every bag they're carrying searched. And even if they don't have one, they still have to get to the security. But no one here seems to mind, because again, it is the U.S. Open. Here is the story. When you think of Flushing, New York, you think of the U.S. Open, a tradition here for many years. This 2002 tournament will go on for 2 weeks, and nearly 700,000 people from around the world will join in for the tennis and the festivities.
We serve bread with our pastas, and we do a chicken parm sandwich as well.
Thank you. Enjoy.
This U.S. Open is considered the richest and most profitable annual sporting event in the world. Take a look. It ain't cheap, but to everyone here, you get what you pay for.
Saw the Chang match, which was awesome.
Oh, amazing. It was amazing.
How'd you get the tickets?
Through work.
Everybody wants to know that, right?
Yeah.
Well, have a great time.
Thank you.
Security doesn't bother you, right?
It's been great so far.
And I'm usually neurotic, but today I'm okay.
It's been very good.
I really am.
And security here is very tight. Yes, there's the bomb-sniffing dogs, and you can forget about getting in without a bag check.
Well, I mean, it was a present, unfortunately, so she has to open her birthday present beforehand.
So now you're going to wait here for her?
You're going to wait. She's going to go to Will Call, get the tickets, open her present, and then we'll go in.
It's a special place to be this year, a tribute to all our 9/11 heroes. And beginning at 7:30, that tribute will begin with Mayor Bloomberg. There'll be other celebrities, and there'll be a very special flag, and you'll be able to see all that if you're here tonight. Incidentally, Warner Wolf is going to have who's playing and who's going to win and who's going to lose, so just hang around because he'll be here. Reporting live from the U.S. Open, I'm Penny Crone, CBS 2 News. Now back to you.
All right, we'll check it all out. Thank you, Penny.
And still ahead at 6, the family's touching story of how to honor an unsung hero of 9/11. It's a CBS 2 exclusive.
And a vandalism spree leaves a trail of damage through 3 communities. We have the latest on the investigation.
And we had a great day weather-wise. We're hoping Janine has a lot more ahead.
Mary, well, cloudy skies today. That kept the temperatures very comfortable. But tomorrow, those clouds might bring some rainfall. I'll have all the details coming up from Weather Central.
Closed captioning on CBS 2 is brought to you by the cool Toyota RAV4. Get the feeling. Toyota.
On September 11th, many everyday people became special heroes. Andrew Zucker is one of them. He gave his life to save his co-workers.
Tonight, you'll see the sacrifice his parents and family must make to honor his memory and stay true to their faith. Marcia Kramer has our CBS 2 exclusive.
Officials of the Mount Ararat Cemetery in Lindenhurst, Long Island have probably never had to cope with as sad or prolonged a burial as that of Andrew Zucker, a 27-year-old attorney who died a hero on 9/11. He's a hero because even when he could have safely gotten out of his 85th floor office in 2 World Trade Center before it was hit by the second plane, he went back in and saved nearly a dozen people.
He was as much a hero as all those firefighters and policemen. helped people out, he held people down.
Had he not gone back into the office that last time, he would be out.
Andrew's death has crushed his Orthodox Jewish family. They wear silver bracelets with Andrew's name and the date he died. They fly a World Trade Center victims flag on their front porch, and each and every one of their license plate holders tells the world that they will never forget Andrew Zucker. But what makes this story even beyond intolerable is the fact that although Andrew's body was not found intact, pieces have been recovered, and Jewish law dictates a burial ceremony for each and every part. And the most recent recovery was in June.
I stood at the cemetery in June, and I promised Andrew that no matter how many times and how hard it was to come back and bury another piece, I'm going to be here to bury it, and he will have that honor, that kavod that he deserves.
There are approximately 19,000 unidentified body parts at the medical examiner's office awaiting DNA identification. So far, the devastated Zucker family has been called twice to pick up remains.
The fact that they have found the 3 pieces that have been identified so far mean, to me, the rest of the pieces of him are somewhere.
And that is why the Zucker family pleads and begs city and state officials not to build anything on Ground Zero.
I think that the entire area should be cornered off. Cheryl said it's definitely it's a grave.
Andrew's family talk about him as a person who lit up any room he entered, a man who would give the world to anybody. He was an idealist. He wanted to move to Israel one day, and the saddest thing of all is that the baby son he wanted so much was born months after his death. Ernie, Mary?
Our great heroes are never to be forgotten. Thank you, Marcia.
Well, you can see all kinds of crazy things in Times Square. Coming up, find out why this man is spending the day underwater.
And there's a change in the weather ahead. Meteorologist Janine Diadamo has your complete CBS 2 forecast coming up.
But first, a look at the closing numbers on Wall Street. The week starts on an up note.
News on CBS 2 is brought to you by Verizon.
Police are searching for a pair of roving vandals.
The young men are moving through the Carmel, New York area, leaving a trail of smashed windows in their wake.
CBS 2's Scott Rappaport has that story.
It is becoming a familiar sight in Carmel, New York. A seemingly endless string of windshields smashed during a weekend crime spree that's left bewildered victims like Ralph Malillo shaking their heads.
You're looking at a windshield with a big hole in it and a rock on the inside.
He says it happened around 3 in the morning, Saturday morning. Someone ran into his yard, threw a rock right through his windshield and fled. Same thing for this car belonging to Mark Eschenberg's friend.
Well, I broke the windshield. They broke the windshield kind of bad.
And similar cases were reported over the weekend in 8 towns throughout Putnam County and northern Westchester County, including some damaged homes under construction in Mayapack. In all, cops say, we're talking about 27 cases of vandalism in the Carmel, Mayapack area alone.
It is very crazy. It's amazing how much damage they did, how many people are going to be out of money, and something like this we're not going to tolerate in this town.
Detective John Lavasso says all the crimes are related, and that cops are now on the lookout for 2 white men they describe in their late teens or early 20s who were in a dark-colored car. Cops believe the motive behind the crime was simply kids out to cause damage, because after smashing the windshields with rocks, nothing was taken from inside the cars. Still, with damage estimated in the tens of thousands, police say the ones who did this will face multiple criminal charges, some possibly felonies. Scott Rappaport, CBS 2 News.
We're going to check the weather right now. Off to a good start, actually.
It certainly is.
Nice.
David Rogers is off. Meteorologist Janine Diadamo is in Weather Central for us.
Hey, Mary, we did have some cloud cover earlier today, but in just the last hour, the temperature has actually come up 2 degrees. It seems just like a little bit, but as you head outside right now, we're going to show you live pictures. Notice in Midtown a little bit of the sun setting. That's because the clouds broke a little bit over the island of Manhattan, and that allowed the temperature in Central Park to come up 2 degrees in the 6 o'clock hour. So that's our high so far today. Northwest winds, 6 miles an hour. The humidity under control right now, so there's some good news. The start of your work week is not sticky and humid, although it's going to end sticky and humid. Well, temperatures looking pretty good across the 5 boroughs in the 80s. New City right now 75 degrees, middle 70s, and cloudy in Woodbury and Ridge, Long Island, and temperatures closer to 80 right now in Hamilton, New Jersey. Here's what we got today, 83 degrees. That was our high this afternoon. The low, 67. No rainfall, but we are going to be forecasting these clouds to eventually produce a whole lot of rain. And here's what's going on. As we look down to our south, notice the clouds are coming up from the south. The rainfall is still back in Virginia and the Carolinas, but over time that rain is going to work right over Delaware, right into New Jersey and New York City by about this time tomorrow. And here are the key players. An upper level low, which is basically going to sit and spin for the next 5 days. It's going to affect us for the next 5 days. A slow mover indeed. It's going to come up the coast. By midweek, the rain is going to begin, but we're still talking about cooler temperatures. But by the end of the week, warm tropical air will be coming in, and that means our weather will feel a lot like it feels down in Florida, Georgia. It's going to be tropical, humid, and sticky, and also thunderstorms are going to be pretty evident through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, bringing us some pretty good rain for the end of August. We could use the rainfall. It's been very dry. Looking for dry conditions tonight with temperatures in the 60s. Temperatures tomorrow, a lot like today. High temperatures around 80 degrees. A lot of cloud cover at the U.S. Open if you're heading there. Don't bother with the umbrella during the afternoon. But overnight is when we think that rain, especially starting into Wednesday. And I think Wednesday the rain should mostly be kind of a drizzle or a steady shower. But Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, not just rain and cloud cover, but this time a chance for thunderstorms. So look for storms with high temperatures back into the middle 80s. I tell you, it's going to feel tropical by Friday and Saturday.
At least a little help for the drought conditions.
That's good news, right?
A little something there.
Coming up next, we have the highlights of what could be the last Yankees game of the season.
And Warner's live at the U.S. Open with the results of the early matches on the first day of the tournament. We'll be right back. Plenty of action in sports.
Oh, you bet. Warner Wolf is joining us live right now from the U.S. Open. Warner.
All right, Ernie, I'll tell you what, if you were coming out later in the week expected to see Anna Kournikova, forget it. In one of her worst performances in a major, Kournikova has just lost to unknown Angelic Wijaya of Indonesia, 6-3, 6-love. 43 minutes. It got so bad that at the end of the match, the fans actually booed Kournikova. Big names winning today. Lindsay Davenport and Justine Henin, Serena and Agassi will both play tonight. All right, let's go to the videotape. 26-year-old Davenport right here. Remember, she had major knee surgery in January, won the Open in '99. She beat Eva Dryberg today of Denmark, 6-2, 6-1. Now, the local guy from Yonkers and Harvard, James Blake, at the top of the screen. This is one of the best points of the day. Blake returned through the legs, but does not get the point against Brian Bahali. But Blake won it in 4 sets, 6-7, 6-3, 6-3, and 7-6. Now, right after the match, Blake talked about the fact that he was playing for the first time at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
It's huge. So, you know, it was fun to be out there. And, you know, going out, I definitely thought of the fact that, you know, I want to act appropriately on my role model stadium.
All right. Agassi, by the way, is 5-1, and Leighton Hewitt is 3-1 to win the men's championship. 42,700 in the stadium this afternoon. Yankees had 19 hits. Beat Texas 10-3. El Duque the winner. So the Yankees split the series. They, by the way, left 15 men on base, and they're still there. All right, let's go to the videotape. Bottom of the third, 2-0 Yanks. Alfonso Soriano, what a leadoff man. 31 homers, 81 RBIs. Yankee record for home runs for a second baseman. 4-0 Yanks, top of the sixth. Look at that. Alex Rodriguez hits El Duque's eephus ball. Home run number 46, 114 RBIs. Then, big play in the sixth. The top ball, Hasselman tries to get Jeter, misses the tag. That made it 5-2. Raul Mondesi came through, big 2-run double. Giambi and Bernie scored 7-2. Soriano went 3 for 6, then singled in 2, and the Yankees won it 10-3. Yanks and Red Sox tomorrow night in Boston, right here on Channel 2 at 7 o'clock. The Red Sox, by the way, have picked up Benny Agbiani. And was this the Yankees' final home game of the season? Well, here was veteran reliever Mike Stanton.
We're still at the table. We're still trying to get something done. So I guess we still feel a little optimistic. I mean, there has been concessions on both sides. So hopefully we'll be able to get something done before Friday.
All right, forget the hit batters. How about the Mets' 28-year-old rookie, Raul Gonzalez, who came over in the Sean Estes deal? Let's go to the videotape. Yesterday's Mets game against Colorado. Gonzalez in the minors, for 12 years. He's finally up. Top of the fourth, home run. That made it 3-0, his first Major League homer. Then in the top of the eighth with 2 on, Gonzalez again. He's 8 for 17 as a Met, and the Mets win the second straight after losing 12 in a row. All right, let's go to the videotape. Today's first rate, Saratoga. Here they come down the stretch. Number 4, Captain Nathan on the inside. Number 2, Vitamin C outside. Captain Nathan inside, Vitamin C outside. It's Captain Nathan, Vitamin C across the line. It is...
I'll take my Vitamin C.
That's right, Vitamin C, paying $81.50. This is Warner Wolf.
Thank you, Warner.
And still ahead, you can call it the ultimate water torture right in the middle of Midtown. We'll explain.
You're watching CBS 2 News at 6. We'll be right back. Time to take a look at what's coming up on Nightcast at 11. Some people call it the most outrageous kind of identity theft. Imagine having your home stolen while you're still living in it. Todd McDermott has the unbelievable details in tonight's CBS 2 investigation. Join us at 11 for Nightcast.
A death-defying stunt is underway in Times Square. Illusionist Chris Angel is submerged, shackled in a water torture cell the size of a phone booth for 24 hours. No eating, no sleeping, and no bathroom break. He gets oxygen through an air tube until tomorrow morning when it gets pulled out. Then he'll have to somehow get loose from his shackles and escape before he loses his breath.
I guess so, and head for the bathroom.
Whew, really?
That is CBS 2 News at 6. I'm Ernie Ganastas.
I'm Mary Kelly in for Dana Tyler. The CBS Evening News is next.
And we'll see you again at 11 on Nightcast.